Hey everybody at Spine Breakers. This is Zachary Cole. I go by the name Z Cole on the forums, although I don't post much. I'm more of a lurker. But I really want to take the opportunity that you guys offered for folks to talk about, some of their favorite books. And the book I like to talk about just for a minute is this book by a guy named Ron Curry Jr. And the book, I don't know if you can see right here, is called Everything Matters. And what's really interesting about Everything Matters is the premise. It's about a young man named Junior. And on the very day that he's born, he's told by this entity, we don't really know who, that at a very specific date, when he's in his early 30s, the entire world is going to end. An asteroid is going to hit the planet, everybody's going to die. And so the whole novel is about this guy, Junior, learning how to live in a life when he knows exactly how it's going to end. There's no real mystery about that part of the story. He knows that there's an apocalypse and it's pretty much inevitable. And the story really becomes about his relationships. How does he react to people in these kind of situations? How does he learn to love somebody when he knows that they're going to die? What's the meaning of life and death? And, these are pretty heavy topics, and the book is pretty serious, but also has some funny moments. And I think a lot of that is just a testament to Curry as a writer. He's a very good writer. And, he's won some awards. This book got a very good review in the New York Times. And the reason it's very exciting to me, well, two reasons. One is just the idea that, quote-unquote serious fiction that gets reviewed in very famous newspapers, that kind of thing, has to be very dour. It has to be very naturalistic. It must be about families, coping with divorce or kids or something along those lines. They're all pretty traditional tropes. It's basically the same dozen stories told again and again. And sometimes you want to see something different. And he's delivered that. It appeals to both people who like traditional kind of stories. There's no huge emphasis on science fiction technology or anything like that. But on the other hand, it reaches out to people who do like some sci-fi stories, but when their friends are like, hey, why don't you go check out something in the mainstream fiction section, they see it's a bunch of sepia tone things with boots on the cover, and it's called Sarah's Divorce, and they kind of get bored by it. This book, Everything Matters by Ron Curry, I think it's something that can appeal to both groups, and it's just a great read in general. The other reason I like it is because of Curry himself. He's kind of an inspirational person because he's not somebody who went through college and then FMA and is from a New York literary scene. He's actually a guy who grew up in Maine where I live. He was basically a short order cook throughout his entire 20s, just writing on the side, trying to get his stories out when he could. It makes it inspirational for people who do want to write, but they think that there's this sort of ivory tower that all writers come from that you can't access. So thanks, guys at Spine Breakers, for giving fans the kind of opportunity to talk about books the way you guys do. Take it easy.